Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am the Omni-Viewer, and I am here to talk about Doctor Who. The season that ran in 2014 has ended. The first run of the 12th Doctor, as played by Peter Capaldi, and I wanted to share my thoughts on that season now that it's over. I really didn't like it. Wish I could say otherwise. I've really liked Doctor Who up to this point. I pretty much have seen everything from the 2005 relaunch with Christopher Eccleston all the way up through to this. Loved pretty much all of that. Couple flub episodes, but that's to be expected. I haven't seen a lot of the older ones, but what little I have seen of the third and fourth and all those other Doctors was good. The movie was bad with the 8th Doctor, but, you know, whatever. This season, the first run of the 12th Doctor, 2014, I wanted to like this. I really did, but the whole thing has just been such a huge misfire. There are some things I liked. The acting was good. The acting was very good for the most part, given what the actors had to work with. I think Peter Capaldi, if given the right material, would make a very good Doctor. He's good. But I'll go into more details in a minute. They had some interesting concepts, like introducing Robin Hood into that. Wasn't executed perfectly, but the idea of seeing the Doctor actually interact with characters that are thought to be fictional and having them turn out to be real, I kind of like that idea. Mummy on the Orient Express, I'd have to say, is my favorite of all the episodes. Best execution, best concept, best acting, best writing, all the way through. Everything else was garbage. That might be an unpopular opinion. I don't really know. I mean, I'm new to the Whovian fandom, so I don't know if maybe people are just going crazy about this and thinking it's the best season ever. But personally, I really didn't like it. Let's start with the fact that this season hates the Doctor and wants you to hate him as well. The 12th Doctor, it's not that he's a curmudgeon, okay? I mean, yes, he's not as happy and cute, let's say, as David Tennant or Matt Smith, but they're taking it in a different direction. We can't always have the Doctor be the same person. I'm all for his character being reinterpreted, because that's the whole point of the regenerations. So I'm not against the idea of him being older and perhaps a bit more of a stick in the mud in certain areas. So that's a legitimate interpretation. He's easier to watch than some versions of the Doctor, but all the same, he feels like a gratuitous element in his own show. For the most part, he didn't really provide any solutions to any of the problems. He was there to see them happen. At one point that was of his own volition. In Kill the Moon, he said that it was not his place to interfere, so he stepped out. Okay, whatever. But every other time, even in the finale, I have so much to say about the finale. But the finale, one or two rewrites, and the Doctor wouldn't even have to be there. You could literally write the Doctor out of the finale, and you shouldn't be able to do that. What occurs to me is that all the other Doctors have been defined by their victories, but it feels like the 12th Doctor is defined by his failures. He screws up more than any other incarnation of the Doctor. And it doesn't feel like he should have. A lot of it feels like he was screwing up simply to make him look bad. Think about how many victories does he have? Well, he solves all the problems on Mummy on the Orient Express. There you go. That's pretty much it. We don't really know the outcome of his encounter with that clockwork bio whatever guy in Deep Breath, because that was deliberately played ambiguous. He screwed up with that one good Dalek in Enter the Dalek. He was dead wrong about Robin Hood not existing. He got chewed out something royal for abandoning mankind and kill the moon. And again, there was the finale where he did absolutely jack. It feels weird to say that, and it feels like they don't want you to like the 12th Doctor. It really feels that way. I don't know if that's what they're intending. I'm sure that's not what they're intending, but they're treating him like he's not... Even the dialogue is all about how this Doctor is not a good guy. And like I said, I like Peter Capaldi as the Doctor. I want him to be the Doctor for a while longer. He is a fan of the show as far as I understand it, so and he's an actor. I'm an actor. I don't want to see another actor be out of work. But yeah, they need to make some serious changes in the future. They need to actually let him be the Doctor the way every other actor who's taken on the role has been the Doctor. Yes, the other Doctors have had their problems. They've made their mistakes, but I mean, just look at the ones that preceded him. David Tennant pulls the entire planet across the galaxy to get it back into orbit. Matt Smith reboots the universe. And Peter Capaldi stands by and watches while a dead man in a crunchy candy shell saves the day. I guess I should have warned you that I'm going to spoil the heck out of this whole season. But yeah, they really didn't give him a chance to step into the role yet. And the stories that they've written seemed so very anti-Doctor. But I've gone on long enough about that. I've got so many other problems with this. I've decided that I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this. I hate Clara Oswald now. As of this season, I hate Clara Oswald. I don't hate Jenna Coleman. This has nothing to do with the person playing the role. Jenna Coleman is very talented. She has no control over how her character is written, as far as I know. And she's... nothing against her. It's her character. The character she is playing, a completely fictional being. I do not like Clara Oswald. I kind of feel like she's become a Mary Sue as of this season. You know, the perfect girl who can do no wrong and always has all the answers because she's oh so perfect and there's no flaws with her and no one can stay mad at her. Let's be honest with ourselves here. I don't think... This is why I try not to do unscripted things so frequently, because my mind is going everywhere at once. I think it ultimately comes down to how she's portrayed as trying to balance her life with the Doctor and her life with Mr. Danny Pink. Let's agree that the subtext is supposed to be that she's cheating on Pink, okay? That's clearly what they intended. She is trying to have a serious romantic relationship with him, but she's running around on him with another man. Like, literally running around across the entirety of time and space. And she's never portrayed as being in the wrong for that. It's a problem in that regard. I think it really came to a head for me during the finale when she spent all this time lying to Dan about what she's doing, about how much danger she's in, which that in and of itself means their relationship was doomed. And when she's finally ready to actually be honest with him, he dies because reasons. And she then decides that because she was running around and lying and not spending time with him, the universe owes her for her bad choices. Those are her exact words. She says she is owed. And then she tries to destroy the TARDIS, basically. She threatens to toss the keys into a volcano. It's all a dream, it turns out to be. But she's basically going to destroy the Doctor's life if he doesn't help her. And she's never called out for that. I mean, the Doctor says, yeah, it's a betrayal, but I forgive you. And Danny does the same thing. Yeah, you lied to me, I forgive you. Yeah, you're insulting me about being a soldier to my face multiple times in the same evening, I forgive you, because I really want this to work. He's way too understanding. Brief tangent. Danny Pink was a wasted potential for a character. Total waste. They could have done something interesting. PTSD, military man, and knowing the Doctor's feelings about military men, that could have been interesting. They could have really done something with that, but instead he is actually a Gary Stu, almost. He's almost too perfect, and that feeds into Clara's Mary Sue nature. And wow, I suspected Clara was becoming a Mary Sue in the name of the Doctor, when it turned out she was the one who told the first Doctor to steal that particular TARDIS, which that kind of struck me as weird, but I figured, okay, whatever, I'll just overlook it this once. But now she's inexplicably right about Robin Hood being real. She's the one who does all the good for Rusty the Dalek, where the Doctor screws up, as mentioned. Yeah, like I said, don't want to see actors be out of work, and I have nothing against Jenna Coleman. Like I said, I don't think she's standing over Stephen Moffat's desk with a bone whip in one hand and a file of blackmail material in the other, demanding that he adapt her fan fictions into the scripts. But if this was the last season that Clara Oswald appeared in, I would not shed a tear. And I'm sorry, Jenna. I love you, but all the same, your character, if she sticks around, she needs to be seriously rewritten. Anyway, story-wise, individual episodes, they were mostly average for me. They had their ups and downs. Mummy on the Orient Express, as mentioned, I think was the best episode. In the Forest of Night, I think was pretty much the worst. But let's talk about the overarching story here. That has to do with all the people that die in these different adventures, thinking that they've woken up in the afterlife, and again, spoiling the heck out of it. Turns out it's the Nether Sphere, which is actually some sort of computer internet interface thing. I don't even know how they describe it anymore. But basically, they've downloaded the consciousness of all these people so that they can come back as Cybermen. And it's a grand ploy by Missy, who is a female reincarnation of the Master. And for starters, I'm not against the idea of the Master turning into a woman. I'd heard that theory floating around from the beginning, thought, yeah, that's likely. And I think that's an interesting new way to do things. I'm open to see where that goes, because I don't think they killed her at the end. She was teleported away, as far as I can tell. But all the same, the plan makes absolutely no sense. Not a single aspect of it makes any sort of logical sense. Because, okay, first of all, they're downloading the consciousness of people who died so that they can be put back into the bodies of Cybermen, who are also converted from dead people. But why? First of all, how could, even with Time Lord technology, how could Missy have possibly gotten to all these different people? And why would you bother putting their personalities back in if the whole point of being a Cyberman is to be a faceless, emotionless part of a hive mind? They're basically supposed to be a homogenized allegory for communism, if you will. No individuals, just... What would be the point of having the individual personalities if they don't... I don't even know how to finish the question, but I think you get what I'm talking about. Why even bother? Why would they make the inhibitor... why would they make the emotional inhibitor an optional feature as opposed to just forcing you? Because that's a huge plot point, that Danny Pink didn't eliminate his emotions, but was still converted somehow. And what was Missy's endgame, exactly? Because, okay, she makes an army of Cybermen that's, like, near infinite. It's one of the biggest armies out there, because it's mostly comprised of dead people. But she doesn't intend to use it. She gives it to the Doctor because she wants him to use it, but she knows he won't use it. But even so, she still does it anyway because... why? You remember how convoluted and hard to understand the Joker's plan was in The Dark Knight? That made more sense than what Missy was trying to do. I get that Missy's supposed to be insane as well, but there still has to be some sort of logic. Even insanity has some sort of internal logic. It makes no logical sense to non-insane people, but it still makes some sort of sense. But I can't make heads or tails of what Missy's plan was, and it just came across as the stupidest thing. And then it's defeated by the power of love, because... Okay, there was precedent for that. There was that one guy who was the father, who was able to resist Cyberman conversion because of his love for his son. But even so, that he was in the process of being converted. He didn't actually get fully converted, so it kind of made sense he could resist in that way. But here, you've got someone who's already fully converted. That's Daniel Pink. He's been fully converted into a Cyberman. He's technically dead, so his soul and his consciousness have left his body, presumably, and he's still somehow able to resist. It made no sense. That is like one of the biggest logical flaws in a plan. If the Cybermen can really be overcome that easily, then there's no threat to them anymore. There's no point in bringing them back ever again, because now all we have to do is to love them to death. I mean, come on. This was just such a bad season. I don't know how... They need to make some serious changes when it comes back. There's still the Christmas special that's coming up, which has Santa Claus in it, apparently. I'm sure there's going to be some sort of sci-fi explanation, but now they've introduced Robin Hood as being real. All bets are off as far as I'm concerned. That might be the literal Santa. But even so... From this point on, they've got to make some serious changes. They've got to restructure how they're doing things. This needs to feel like Doctor Who again. They can't have the Doctor be useless. They can't have stories that don't make sense anymore. I don't know how they lost track of that whole thing. I mean... Another question. Why bother showing all of these people who died showing up in the afterlife if none of them are going to play a part in the finale? Absolutely none of them. And even the guy at the beginning, in Deep Breath, the robot who was stealing body parts, that's another thing. They downloaded a freaking robot. What was the point of that? Why... if anyone was going to play a role in this thing, it probably should have been him, just so we could get an explanation of why they would bother downloading something that technically wasn't alive. I mean, the Cybermen don't convert robots, as far as I'm concerned. There's no point in that. They convert living creatures. So, what was he doing there? Yeah, he was searching for the afterlife, but I don't know. I just don't know. Nothing about the finale made any sense whatsoever. It was one of the worst finales I've ever seen. Thankfully, it's just the season finale and not the series finale, depending on how poorly this gets received. Who am I kidding? I'm not saying Doctor Who's going to get canceled. It would take something far worse than this to get it canceled. They'd have to really screw up. They did screw up this season. They screwed up bad, but I don't think it's irredeemable. They can still technically keep it going if they do it better next time. Give us more variety of villains than just killer robots. It was all killer robots this season. Where are the aliens? Where are the bizarre new life forms? Even the mummy technically was being driven by technology, so Cyborg still kind of counts. So, yeah. I wish I could say that the 2014 season of Doctor Who was good. I really do. I wish I could say that I have total faith in where the series is going from here with its new direction that we've heard touted so much. I wish I could say that I'm confident the BBC is going to keep Peter Capaldi on for a bit longer as the Doctor. But I know how these things can go. If enough bad reviews come in, somebody's going to say it must be because of the Doctor, the guy we cast, and I want to make it clear, nothing against him, nothing against any of the actors. They're just doing their jobs. The writers are not doing their jobs, though, at least not doing them properly. So, oy vey. Why did I say oy vey? I'm not Jewish. But anyway, point is, those are my thoughts on the 2014 season of Doctor Who. I'm hoping to God 2015 is better. I really do. I hope the Christmas special is better. That has the potential to wipe the slate clean, start us with something fresh. So, fingers crossed, as much as I can do. So, that's the long and the short of it. My thoughts on Doctor Who. Good elements, overall bad execution. Please make it better. That's pretty much all I have to say. So, time to figure out a better camera angle and move on to doing stuff that's actually scripted. Thank you for listening to me ramble. Until such time as we meet again, this is the Omni-Viewer signing off.